Welcome back, everybody. This is Melanie with Melanie Stamps, where color and creativity collide. Today is part 2 of our birthday cards, and we are going to get messy. So let's play. Hello, friends. I have a lot on my desk. So this is part 2 of the birthday cards that we glimmered the sentiments for in part 1. So if you have not seen part 1, make sure to go look for part 1. Hopefully they will have it at the end of this video. They'll link them YouTube. But we are making 2 birthday cards today. I'm going to have some ink blending, some stitching, so we're going to just get into it. I have pre-done some of this already because there's lots of stuff in the motion here. So hopefully it won't take all day. So as we did in part 1, we glimmered these sentiments that were released by Spellbinders this week, June 10th. There are Glimmering Best Day, Glimmering All About You, Glimmering Poppin' Birthday, and Glimmering Hooray. These are really nice. They have quite a large sentiment foil plate, and then the coordinating die comes with them. So I really like them. They are a really nice size. They don't take up your whole plate or your whole card front like the ones did last month, but they're also not really small. So they're a nice happy medium. Perfect for birthday cards, which all of us make a lot of. So I had fun with juvenile, rainbow, like kids theme ones this month. So we are going to go ahead and for this one, we are using the die Stitch of the Month from last month. This is Stitched Balloon Card Front, and that's what our base card is. I've done this panel so far, and I've made a background with the 3D embossing folder from last month, which is balloons and banners. So these may not be available just yet if you're watching this at the time of the release, but when they become available, if there are ones left from last month, they usually come available to the public, and I will link them down below once they become available on the website. So, but most of you, or a lot of you, already have them. So, we're going to be mounting that right there, and then we're going to put our sentiment right there, which I thought it fit perfectly. And remember, you can do this in any color way you want to. So don't get mixed up by the primary bright colors. I just wanted to have children's birthday cards on hand, so I went with this. Plus, my grandson, 2 grandsons actually, I have birthdays that I want to get cards done for. So if you saw part 1, you saw Elijah's card already. So I will probably make this one actually into Liam's birthday card. So haven't done that yet, but one of these are going to end up being Liam's, but it'll probably be either this one or the next one because they've got definitely those bright primary colors. So so let's go ahead and stitch this. And I wanted to show you a different technique on how to finish the backs of these. In my other stitching videos, the first time I did one, I showed you how to tuck this in and stitch over it to hold the stitching. I mean, to hold the tail, you know, where you stitch over it and eventually it gets held down. In my second stitching video, I think I've done 2 now. This will be the 3rd that has stitching in it. I used double-sided adhesive because these spaces in the stitching were so wide apart that I didn't like, or actually, I take that back. I didn't show you that in a video It was, actually, I've got the cards right here. It was these cards. These were so far apart, I got it upside down, but I used double-sided adhesive to hold all of those tails down. And I didn't do that on video. I forgot. We just glimmered and finished these on video. But when I did that method, which I hear a lot of people use, the tape that's inside the club kits, when I tried that method, I didn't like it. It wasn't holding the string taut enough here for me. I like it to be nice and tight, and that actually is probably, okay, see, it's catching it, which is how I showed you the first time, and that's fine right now. We're just gonna roll with it until the end, and then I'll show you. But so when the stitches are really long though, you know, I thought, well, I'll tape them and that'll really help because, you know, then the tail can't get out. Well, I was finding that the tape wasn't really holding really well, and it just, and it was the double stick tape. I don't know if it was because of the fabric of the stitch or of the DMC floss, but I just didn't like the way the threads were getting out from under it. And so this time I tried knotting it. So I think I'm going to do the knotting from now on when it's something like this and the stitches are really far apart. And so what I did, if I can get it back out here, yeah, is I just went ahead and just, I've got the first one and I've got the last one, and just go ahead, I'm going to put this down here, but just go ahead and, you know, do a double knot. You can not, I do it 2 or 3 times. I'll do it 3 times if the string is long enough. But 2 times is sufficient. And I just do at least a double. And I'll show you it when I'm done here. Because there's no way of actually seeing this, but I'll show you how neat and tidy it is. Okay, so that's what it looks like right now with the knot in there. And then I will take my scissors and just snip. And I snip it, well, actually I did this one shorter. I tried to snip it like 1/4 of an inch or so. This is really close to the edge though, so that might have been too close. I mean, it might have been a little too long. Hopefully that's not going anywhere. Okay, so that is how I did it this time. So get my other piece here. We'll finish this up real quick. Do I have any stitchers out there? Have any of you fallen in love with the stitching on cards bug? Bug, the stitching bug. This floss here that I'm using is a DMC variegated one, so this is actually a little lighter right here. This piece that I'm using here. So it's going to look a little funny, but that's okay. The other DMC floss I had was way too dark. I have a whole bunch of DMC floss, and storage. But not a whole lot of it here in my craft room. So I need to find it, my collection. This has got an ombre look, the two different pieces. Look at that. Kind of pretty. Alrighty. Finish this off real quick and we will get it all glued together. Because we need more time for the other card. The other card's going to take some time with the blending, and I figured that video sparked some interest, the one I did on the color coordination of Spellbinders paper and ink, or the Oxide ink and the Spellbinders paper. So I said I might as well get out those oxides and start a-playing. So I have them, but have not used them. So here we go, down the rabbit hole of learning again. Okay, we can put that away. Let's get our card out here. And let's see, I'm doing a red, yellow, blue, red, yellow, blue. So we will go ahead and get this girl down. I'm using my liquid adhesive. I just put a generous amount in between each of the stitching lines. I'm gonna put a little on that knot too, because I cut it so close. And then I put quite a bit on this solid piece. Dior, hear something? Dior, do you hear something? That's my papillon in the background. Okay, we'll put this one right here. Hold it for a couple seconds, and then we're going to put a block on it. While we get the glue here. I use the same colors on Liam's numbers, which was, as I did Elijah's numbers, I used the stitched numbers, if you haven't, by any chance, if you haven't watched part 1. And they're all the bright colors. So when I stitch their numbers for their birthday cards, so it will match any of these pretty much. So it'll be either, well, this one doesn't have orange in it, so it'll be the other one, because there's an orange thread in the number 1 that I stitched for his card. He's going to be 1 in December. All right, get that in place. And on this stitching die, this back balloon and this back balloon both have little outline indentions on where to put them. So I'm just going to set this aside, and we will hook that to the card base at the, or to the card base at the end, and we're going to move on to our blended background. And that way that glues and sets up real nice. And those balloons will be nice and dry. Okay. So for this blended background, first of all, let me just say we're using the Balloons and Birthday Wishes, which is also from last month's May 2023 kit. It is the large die of the month. So it will be linked down below when it becomes available. Okay. Take these out. I've used the flowers in it and also the balloons. And I'm going to move most of this to the side. Okay. And this is the color panel we're going for today. This was my practice sheet just to see if I like the color scheme and also to see how my blending looked. See my learning curve. I actually worked on 3 panels before I found one that I liked. So this is the one we're going with, and to get that we're using mustard seed and peacock feathers. So I've got 2 blending brushes, which we will use. And what we're going to do is start with your lightest color and ink your blender brush really well. And I'm doing this on a piece of printer paper. And I'm going to hold this side just so when it starts inking, I don't transfer ink or dirt or fingerprints onto my panel. I'm just using a paper towel here. And then start off the edge and blend onto your cardstock. And you want to try, I learned this from a YouTuber. I watch YouTube videos too. And you want to try to keep your hand at the same pressure and angle and everything for the blend to be balanced, so to speak. And move the paper instead of your hand, in other words. So we'll start on this side with, oh, isn't it pretty? It blends like butter onto there. Well, we actually could go more. I actually would like to get a higher quality blending brush. Spellbinders actually carries some of them. These are cheap ones off of Amazon. And the bristles aren't the best. They're they work pretty good considering the price. The price is relatively cheap. Okay, that's half of my banner. And I like that they have the little lids. That is a plus. So you won't transfer, transfer the ink. But that being said, they don't do the best at blending. I think I would love to try some Simon Says Stamp ones, or Waffle Flowers, or the Spellbinders ones. But not at this time. This time, I'm using the cheap ones. So, we'll do this brush. This one here, I can tell I've used a lot. Look. I've used it a lot, and you can tell that it's getting icky because of the way it blends. I can even feel it. It's kind of stiff. So I don't get as smooth of a blend with this color. I also think I need a re-inker on this one. I need to work at this color, getting it to blend better than I had to work. Look at that. There's a little piece on there of something. I don't think this brush can hold anymore. But it's my blue brush. That's one thing I like. That's the only reason I haven't bought Spellbinders yet, is because they're white. They're white handles, and I like the colored handles. So a couple of the other companies do carry ones that are colored handles. The fun part begins in the middle, when the green appears. Oops. The reason for the copy paper is, one, of course, you don't get your dust mite. But I went up a little too high there. That's going to drive me nuts. But I wasn't paying attention. But the reason for the copy paper is that the ink dries immediately. So you're not going to pull that yellow down here into this. But if I was doing it on my glass mat, like my Ranger mat, glass mat, this would be wet because these inks stay wet. So every time I pull out, I would be pulling that yellow back in because that would still be wet. So that's what I learned, is the reason. Just use cheap printer paper. Okay, I'm going to go back to the yellow. My yellow blends better anyways. And we're going to see if we can get some more green. Let's see if I can cover that green right there up first before this gets green on it. Let's see. That fixed it a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to try to go up a little bit into the blue with my yellow. Let's see if I can make a little more of this green. And then just try to fade it out. Trying to get rid of the harsh lines. And the bristles on this brush work so much better than that blue one. And that's just because of the brush. It's not the inks, it's the brush. Okay. That did fix that pretty. It's made it more gradient. I like that blend. I think that going from yellow to green is pretty good. Okay, let's look at it. Okay, now we are going to have balloons up in the sky, the blue area, so I think that's going to be just fine. I might pull the blue down just a little bit so there's a little less yellow. Let's see if I can do this. Of course I can. She believed she could, and she did. Okay, there we go. Put a little bit more blue in this area, in the center. Y'all see that kind of whitish area? I think it was actually more yellow, but sometimes, oh, I'm sitting here touching on my fingers. Sometimes you want to look at your panel at different directions. Like I saw that little splotchy area actually in the camera. And look, it kind of looks like there's little clouds up there. And I think that's just where the different saturations has just got lighter. Maybe the brushes hit it differently. But kind of cool, huh? Okay, so we'll put the inks away. Actually, no, we won't. We are going to use the yellow still. And we are going to stencil this balloon. All of my balloons on the project are stenciled. See? And I use the same Distress Oxide inks for that. And look, you know how I was saying that ink colors are so similar? I could not see the red at all. On this one, I had to emboss it to see the spots at all. So I actually have one that's embossed just because I couldn't see the red on the red cardstock. Now, not all my cardstocks are Spellbinders in this project. Some of them are just scraps. But I thought that was so funny. This is the red cardstock from Spellbinders and the coordinating Oxide ink. So, but I couldn't see it. So I had to take it. And put the, I put clear embossing powder on it just to see if I could see what was, okay. For this, I'm going to just lightly kind of pounce on here. And you can definitely, you don't want to move the balloon. And that's the trick here, is not to move your balloon. You can tell where you've inked because the stencil's all yellow. So you can tell you've gotten it. But you just don't want that balloon to move. Okay. And then lift your stencil. And ta-da! You got a cute little polka dotted balloon. So that's what I did for the balloons. And I just used a similar color on each one just to give a little interest. And this was a huge aha moment right here. This is cool. And like I said, I'm learning to use, I'm just using oxides for the first, well, I used them, I tested them out right when they came out, when I bought the first set of them, when Tim actually released them way back when. But check it out. Most inks, you have to take this to the sink immediately, right? Is that not awesome? So they're not going to stain your stencils. Love it. Okay. Love it, love it, love it. Dior. Hush, baby. Okay, guys, I am back. I had to do a little doggy housekeeping. So, okay. So I've done a little prep here. I think what we're going to do is we're going to hook these balloons together so that we then can place them on the card. I think that will be the best way to get this card done. And then I'm going to arrange some of these little flowers around the sentiment here. So while I'm gluing, I'm going to speed up the video because we're looking at already being 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Be back in a sec. Okay, so I have added glue right here between those two foam dots. And I'm going to, these strings are very pliable. You can move them around. So what I'm going to do is put them all together, and I'm going to put them, I'm going to slide them in that little notch right there, because I want the strings to come up together, and then I can trim whatever else I want. But on my placement on my card, I want them coming up like that. So I think that's how I want it to be, just like that. So if I can get those strings in the right place, I think I can go ahead and put glue. Matter of fact, I probably should have done that first. Get lots of glue. And yes, I use scraps back here. I made these balloons double layered. And I just use scraps on the back of the cardstock pieces. I'm not going to glue down the parts of the strings that show. I'm just going to glue down the stuff up here and this stuff where this seal's going to be. Okay. Okay, there we go. That's kind of the look I was going for. Just some fresh flowers peeking out around the sentiment and the balloons flying in the sky. Have a poppin' birthday. So that's that one. And then for this one, when I was on my little hiatus, I did seal or attach this to the card base, and it is on foam, so it pops up a little bit, just gives it a little dimension. Then we need to finish the foam on the back of the sentiment here that I had started. So we will go ahead and place that about there. Okay, I just need to make sure that lines up straight. And I might put a little bit of glue on the back of this, just in case a little of this goes over the stitching. So I'm going to hold this up just so I can, oh, I was going to put a little bit of glue on that. Let's see, this side, and it would be this side. But I'll just, for good measure, I'll put it up with a little dot on each of them. Okay, I love these sentiments. They're so pretty. And this one just fit this space so good. All right. Eyeballing it straight and popped up. I did not put a shadow on this one like I did all the others, so that's what it looks like without a shadow. So let's look at all 4 cards that we made with this birthday theme, with large sentiments just released. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I also, to finish this one, I wanted to add some of these. Oxide. I thought this needed a punch in the center. Oh yeah. Check it out. This is going to finish this card. The center of each of the stitched areas, and maybe a little bit on the green too. We will put these little silver, I call them pearls. Spellbinders doesn't, but I call them pearls. They're self-adhesive. Fashion silver, self-adhesive embellishments. They're fashion. And my hands are so sticky from all the adhesive I've been messing with making these cards. I love these because they come in multiple sizes too. These come in just gold and silver, but they also have these in pearl colors too that actually look like pearls in different colors. Look at that. The center's there. I wonder if I should put... No, I think I'm just going to leave them in the centers. Okay, so let's pull out the other two from the first video. These are the 4. I'll put them in order. 1, 2. This was video 1. We foiled all this foiling in video 1, and I explained how these 2 cards were made, and then we did these last 2 today. These are the new foiling sentiments released this month, June 2023. I hope you've enjoyed this 2-part video series making these birthday cards, and I will see you next time. Bye bye, guys.